So Carolyn, great to have you online. You're sitting down there in Wellington, yeah?
Freezing cold, but
Freezing cold here as well. Great to see you. It was a few years ago, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that you came to Auckland and I offered you a bed in my house. Vera, a woman that we both know, Sally Anderson. Firstly, I think it would be really good to honour Sally Anderson.
Yeah.
She was instrumental in my life as a coach, as a spiritual coach for me, and I know you came up for that weekend in Auckland, and life took a different turn for you as well. So yay to Sally.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. So for people watching on, this is an interview as part of a series of talking to women, real women, who have been through some life stuff, various forms and guises of life, as a woman or as a mother or as a lover, and just really getting a sense of how they've come through that transition or change or difficult time or even good time, really, to loving themselves more fully. So Carolyn, like I say, I don't know heaps about you, but what I do know is when I first met you, when you came to Auckland, and also via the circles or the social media that I've seen you online and connected with you, I know that you've been through some pretty dark times in your life, yeah?
Yeah.
Darkness.
Yeah.
And I don't know the fullness of that by any means, but I know you've been through those dark times. But what I admire about you is that you continue to stand for your lightness, of feeling lighter in yourself and having a better peace of mind, and in helping others find some lightness in their life.
Yeah.
Depression and psychiatric stuff. So are you able to just tell us, a little bit about who you are and the sorts of things you've been through?
Yeah, sure. Well, firstly, I just want to thank you also for providing a platform and opportunity to do this. I feel and I know it's really important for not just me, but many others of us out there who have come through what we've gone through, and we're in a position where we can share that. So thank you. That means a lot. Yeah. So a little bit about where I come from. It's complex, but I've learned to sum it up because I've needed to. So from the get-go for me, coming into this world, it was very disruptive. I was taken off my parents as a little baby and put into what they called back then an orphanage, which was with the nuns. That was actually a very loving place for me. It was literally a godsend. I was lucky to have it. Before the age of 5, I had witnessed and experienced a lot of trauma, physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental emotional abuse, and the separation anxiety from not having my parents around also. The orphanage eventually closed down and I was returned into full-time care of my mother, who really was still trying to find herself and who she was. And parenting wasn't something that came easy for her. And I mean, it doesn't for many people. I know I'm a parent myself. So the journey for me leading on from around eight years old up to 16 was very traumatic, and this eventually for me, as I came into adolescence, for me it manifested in the form of a very, very deep-seated depression, and that carried on into my early 20s. I mean, I had a child myself when I was 16, and that's babies having babies is how I see that. That's how I experienced it. And that further impacted on my depression, and I believe I would have had postnatal depression. Really just could not get a sense of myself as a person, let alone a person who had a voice or a person who had rights to even speak up, to say anything about who I was or what I wanted.
And what you were witnessing, or witnessed to.
Definitely. Yes, yeah. So the trauma just carried. It was just traumatic event after traumatic event after traumatic event for the first 22 years of my life.
So what happens to a young woman as she's just being pressured and pressured and pressured and pressured and traumatized again and again? What happened to your spirit?
it's a fantastic question, and it's amazing. I can speak for myself and what I felt within my own spirit, but gosh, the fight, and it really, this spirit of mine just did not give up. It just, and it still doesn't, and it never will.
No.
We don't know that, but going through the process.
Do you see that as a means of survival, or do you see it now as a skill?
Both. Both. And that's so dependent on the individual person and how I interpreted things and how I've seen things, or what I've chosen to do with them, if I've known what choices there are. But the impact of it being disintegrated is the word that I've used to describe that overall experience.
So what does disintegration feel like? Well, how would you describe that to women out there who might be going through some stuff and feeling what they're feeling, and they're going, what the heck's this all about, you know?
Yeah,
Am
sure.
I in this, you know? Quite frazzled and frayed is the sense that I feel.
Yeah, disintegrated. I think about it in terms of, like, if I had a piece of paper and that piece of paper was me, and then it's just ripped up into tiny pieces and then scattered everywhere.
So like shredded, you know? Yeah.
Just in pieces, really, really in pieces, and unable to have a sense of who I am, have a sense of me, my place. Yeah, it was impossible for me to even know or experience what self-esteem was. I couldn't. That was just. It was like when people spoke to me about that. It was like I was listening to Japanese.
Foreign language. Yeah, you're
No idea what they were talking about at all. And the way it manifested for me in terms of relationships was I just did whatever anyone asked or wanted of me. I just did that. There was no sense of, oh, actually, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. I don't want to do that.
So no sense of value around you or what you actually valued or not, yeah?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
A compliant little puppy.
Yeah, I didn't even have the awareness. The awareness wasn't even there. It wasn't till much later on that it was brought to my attention. Did you know that when you are feeling uncomfortable, when you're feeling, that's because, you know, your body or mind is trying to tell you something. It's never even dawned on me.
So as a kid growing up, what were feelings or emotions that you now recognize as emotions but didn't feel those at the time?
So I didn't, as in the emotions that I didn't feel
at the time. You recognize them now as emotions, but you know the emotions that you did feel. Yeah, but what now, and as a woman, having gone through a bit more stuff, do you look back on and go, okay, I didn't know what joy felt like, for example. I didn't know what exhilaration felt like, or what emotions didn't you know existed?
The intuition was actually massive for me, and it came in the form of it was just a knowing. Although it's not an emotion as such, but it was a knowing. So there was a definite repelling in certain situations where it was like, but I never recognized that. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be doing this. Yet I was still doing it. And I was just pushing myself forward. And
so your spirit and your feminine intuition was still alive there.
Very.
And I wonder whether, just even in this short conversation here, that that never leaves us. It's inbuilt within us as women that we have this gut feeling, we have this intense, deep knowingness, even though our mind might do something else. What is okay or not, or what is safe or not, or what is okay to, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
How else has that served you in your life, your intuition as a woman?
What
you get into and what's it saved you from?
It saved me from heaps. That comes in the form of every area of my life: financial decisions, new relationships, old relationships, business associates, networking, business decisions, just everything. So I haven't always recognised it as that at the time, but as I've gone on and I've learned to develop that more, it has. It's that lets me know who I am, because when I'm not in line with that, when I'm ignoring it, something will be screaming at me.
And they'll scream at us and we keep going.
Yeah. Until I listen, until I do something different.
Yeah, and that's when we were just talking about courage before this interview, and that's when our courage sets in, when we honour our knowingness.
Yeah. And
actually action that, not just sit with that and not just keep tolerating something. Yeah. No,
especially that tolerating. Especially that, and that's what my intuition lets me know often, and that's it's a knowing, it's a feeling, it's a vibration too. Like sometimes I can literally feel like I'm buzzing. When it's really like, okay, come on. You're not listening.
Exactly. Yeah, intuition's an interesting thing. I mean, people feel it and sense it in different ways. I mean, I'm personally quite kinesthetic, so when I know I've said something that's powerful, I'll get the shivers, or I feel it in my body. I can feel people's pain in my body. If someone gets hurt, I can feel it.
Right.
And I'm very sensory in that sense. But, others hear it, others see it, others just know it. Yeah. A deep sense of knowingness. Have you got other siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother and sister. I have an older sister who's 41, and I have two twin siblings that I've never met, and I think they would be 48.
Okay. So where's your sense of home within a family? I know you've been through some stuff, some fairly traumatic stuff. Yeah, where's your sense now at the age that you are and where you are at in life? Where's your sense of home?
My sense of home is with my friends and my daughter. I have a daughter. I have a beautiful daughter. She's amazing. And a grandson who's 2, and that's a whole different experience and a different type of connection in terms of family. So my sense of family is with my friends and my daughter. In terms of having a place that's home, it's some days I feel like I just don't have that sense, and it's just not here anyway. I often look at the stars, and that's where I feel at home. Often, in fact, most nights.
You're there, up there.
Most nights, it's like I don't know. It's like a hypnotic response. I just look at the stars, and that I really feel that's where I feel at home. But the sense of family, is in person form, is with my friends. So that's where I've come to, and that's been a difficult journey to come to that, because I'm at peace with that, whereas I never used to be at peace with that. I used to just wanted a mum and a dad, and I wanted it to be like this, and I wanted the siblings to be together, and everything was great, and we all had Christmas together.
You wanted that beautiful fantasy story tale, like we all do.
It took a lot to understand. That not only was that just not how it was in my situation, but it's actually not like that for many people. Many people. So this is not a foreign experience that people have.
So you've gone down that kind of you've seen the psych system. You've helped a lot of people with depression and various psych I don't want to say disorders. Well, what's a better word than disorder?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
stuff of the mind. Yeah,
absolutely.
How you're working with people at the moment and how you're supporting them, perhaps in a different way than how you were supported or not supported.
Yeah. So I work with people, mental wellness, or people experiencing mental wellness, or mental discomfort is actually what I call it, if they're experiencing mental discomfort. So the way we work together, and I think that's a difference there, is the system that I grew up in and that I went into, particularly the psychiatric system, was about you're the patient, I'm the doctor, and this is how it is, and there's the power difference right there. It's doomed. It's difficult. So the way I work with the people that I work with now is we work together. There's no hierarchy in that, and so
there's an empowerment already. Empowerment happens as soon as there's two levels.
And that's so, I mean, there is so much in that, and in a person just being able to come into a space where they can have their experience accepted, acknowledged and honoured, and know that actually what they're bringing is just as great a contribution, that
it's not more valid and important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where I've seen and experienced the healing.
Well, it's in relationship, I believe. It just reminded me, just in that moment, my first job was as an occupational therapist in the ward 10 at Auckland Hospital. It was the psych ward, the acute psych ward. I was a 19-year-old, new from Dunedin, very conservative, background, and there I arrived in the psych ward with some people who were, quite unwell, or in incredible, in your words, discomfort. And I remember feeling quite not at ease in that system, because I didn't feel like I fitted there. I didn't feel like I knew enough. But it's interesting, because I got the validation about 10 years down the track from a fellow student. He was a social work student, and I met up with him sort of randomly one day, and he said, "Oh, you're Janelle." And I said, "Yeah." He says, "I just remember the way you related to people in that place." And I wasn't there a long time, and I felt very inadequate there. But for me, hearing that, it's the relationship that we have with people and the honouring and respect that they're human beings, for God's sake, They have feelings, that have valid feelings, that have a life experience that we have no idea about.
That's right.
I don't have any idea about your, the hugeness of what you've been through. But when we relate to people and we care about them, and that's exactly what I hear you doing. Our conversation the other day, I hear you caring about people. There's no I'm better than you, or power control stuff. So what have you seen in that medical system that you absolutely hate and detest?
The dispensing of medication. That would be that just still leaves me speechless. The plethora of medications that people are put on when they're coming in, and they're dealing with life. They're dealing with things that happen in life. People die. People lose their children. People lose their partners. People get sick. People have cancer. People lose jobs. Relationships break. This is life. That is not a mental illness. Life is not a mental illness.
No.
That is the one thing that I really detest about the psychiatric or the mental health system. It's not mental health, but that's what they call it, mental health, is that it is a further breaking down of the person to a point of utter dependency.
And utter shreds. You talked to about yourself feeling in shreds. Where are they in that when they're shredded?
That's it. And when I'm leaving these places, historically, when I've been leaving these places and my answer comes in a cardboard box with 16 tablets that says, do not overdose on this, because it's just, are you seriously? There's no thought, there's no consideration, there's no compassion, there's no anything. That is so removed. I was going to say scientific from the medical point of view, but actually that's not even scientific. It's just it's incredible. Yeah.
So in your own life experience, you've been on the medication yourself,
lots.
And you know the effects and the detriments of that,
Yes.
So therefore you're passionate about,
Very.
Yeah. So how have you found peace of mind, so to speak, without the medication? Because there'll be loads of people out there who are going, hey, I'm on this stuff, I feel depressed, what have you found for yourself that may be helpful for others?
Sure.
Getting peace of mind and peace of spirit,
Yeah, and they're fundamental, they're key things to being able to have a peace of mind. So I think just the first thing right there, I say there are 6 areas that I've noticed that I've worked with over a period of time. So this is not a quick fix. It takes time, and it's a holistic thing. So the peace of mind doesn't just come from me tapping in or talking with spirit or whatever, whether it's I go to church, or it doesn't matter what it is, whatever your higher connection is. It's about balancing. It's about having a relationship with. For me, this is how I get the peace of mind. Having a relationship and developing the relationship with spirit. Also having the same with my diet and nutrition. Also the same with my thoughts and my perception. Which
are different, yeah?
They are not the same.
No, they're not the same, but we often go on and go, we can think something, but actually it's our view of,
Absolutely.
Our story around,
It really is. And this was something that Sally Anderson taught me in the time that we spent together. And that wasn't a small shift. That was a monumental shift.
For example, can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So in terms of perception, right up until 2012, when I did the seminar, I just did not know that there was other ways to look at how I had experienced life. So up until then, my entire point of view, my perception was, this has been done to me.
Yeah.
This has been done to me. This is terrible. This is awful. This is why me. I can't go out and do this. I can't go because I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to be damaged. And look, that's not wrong. Of course I felt like that. That's completely understandable. What was extremely useful was being in an environment that Sally Anderson had created that showed me that there is a different way to look at it that doesn't bring in the point of view of a victim. Not making the victim wrong.
Blame and the judgment and the...
But just looking at it differently. So just trying to think of an example. It's easy for me to say looking at it differently. I'll come back to that. Because it's...
So you were saying, back to that then. So you're saying diet, nutrition, thoughts and perceptions. The other one?
Environment.
Yeah.
Environment. And environment can be where you're living. Environment can be your friends. Look at who you are surrounded by. And again, that's not about, for me anyway, it's not about going, oh my gosh, you are so toxic, get out of my life. That's no. That's, that's have some integrity through this process too. It's
some discernment,
It is discernment, and it's just about being aware. I think is a good starting point. Meditation. Some people go, and I was one of those people that was, but I cannot tell you the degree of peace that I get from meditation, because it's not even what I thought it was. Meditation was, for me anyway, was not about getting my mind still and having no thoughts. I mean, good luck with that. It's just, you're going to have thoughts.
Don't go away.
But there is just something about tuning out from the outside distractions and tuning in to what's inside, and then asking your big questions or your little questions and seeing what answers come up. Meditation was huge, huge. And one more that I really have to say is, I don't know if you have heard of Byron Katie.
I have.
You've heard of Byron Katie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of her work, but I know of everyone that describes her and her work are just going, whoa.
Oh, Janelle, one of the most pivotal moments in my life, another strong, significant shift in my mindset, was doing the work of Byron Katie with an amazing facilitator who lives on Waiheke Island. His name's Valley, and he's been incredible in my life. He's been very instrumental because he facilitates me through this process called the work, and it's just 4 questions. That's all it is. It's just 4 questions, but it's a very meditative process. So in terms of mental wellness, mental illness, mental discomfort, whatever resonates with you, I know for me, when there was a point where I was suicidal, and I've used this with people who I work with also, just to say that, and that is something very different that you don't get that in mainstream. When I was suicidal and I was doing the work with Bali, and we went through this with these 4 questions, it changed, it shifted. It was such a big shift on how I was looking at depression, and it just wasn't this big disempowering feeling and view that I had on it. So that was I actually wrote it. I'm just sitting here looking at it. I've got this letter. I wrote this letter as a result of doing the work with depression. It's a letter to myself when I'm in the moment of depression, and I've written it as I'm doing the work with Vali, and it's so real because it's in that moment of 1 minute I'm suicidal and I want to end it, and the next minute my perception's shifting and I'm recognizing this and I'm writing it down. So every time I feel like that, I go back to that bit of paper with what I've written up here. And I say every time I feel like that because I believe one of the biggest misconceptions is that either you take a pill or you get all your ducks lined up in a row in your life and then it's okay. And it's never going to happen again. Well, no. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
Look, I think for most people it doesn't, but they have this persona and this mask that says, I've got it all together.
You know. No.
We don't, do we?
I mean, really, I wish, but no.
So do you notice, this is just a random question coming, do you notice a difference in terms of people that you're supporting in terms of womanly fluctuations and cycles versus a more masculine, how men are? Do you notice that difference for us women?
Yeah, and it's a big, fat, juicy, important, need to be talked about, discussed more, and
you're passionate.
Because I wonder how many. Firstly, I wonder how many women are being diagnosed with these mental illnesses,
like hysteria. Do you remember way back? Hysteria was all about, they had hysterectomies because they thought we were hysterical once a month.
I know.
For God's sake, it's been around for eons.
Yes.
Lunatics. Yeah, because we relate to the moon.
To the moon. And that's what massive like disinformation, about the truth about the nature of woman and who we are. And we are cyclical. We're not fluid. I mean, we're not linear, we're fluid. It's a big question, and it's one I'm really passionate about, and my resonance is more to work with women because I can relate. Whereas, and I'm not saying that I don't relate to men, but I wouldn't be being honest if I was saying, oh yeah, I relate 100% to men, because I don't. I I don't.
Well, you know those highs and lows in your life.
Yeah.
You also know the highs and lows of your own cycle, and you know the highs and lows of emotions and the extremes of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
sometimes the gift of those. Yeah.
Now that's key right there. And when in the area of mental wellness or mental health, what I notice, and this is just by nature, I think men are goal orientated. They want a result, and women are process orientated. They want to go through the journey. A woman.
It is sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, because that's how we are. That's what we do. We connect. We bond. We talk. We explore.
Well, it's our own growth and self-discovery. Yeah, we're kind of into that.
Yeah.
In our own crazy way.
So yeah, I do notice hugely the differences, the reasons for men experiencing mental illness and women experiencing mental illness, and even if that's what it is are two different things. And I even know for myself, I remember speaking to my doctor when I was 33, and I remember saying to her, look, I'm getting PMS for 14 days. And she looked at me and she said, that's impossible. You can't get PMS for 14 days. You've got really severe depression. And she put me on one kicker of a medication. And, years later, when I'd come off all the medication and my head was getting clearer again, do you know I still get PMS for 14 days? That is
your unique cycle. And you know what, the blessing of that, which I love to support women in, is that we need those two phases of our cycle. We talked about this the other day. We need those two phases of our cycle. Our PMS is our GPS in a way. Maybe it should be, I've just thought about that one. Maybe it should be called the GPS, because it's when we get into that emotional darker space. Yeah, often. Where we're going, hey, wake up. Here's something that's important here. And it keeps coming every month until we resolve those things, or at least clear the way, or unclutter something, or have some courage to do what we need to do based on our intuition, which is what you talked about, yeah?
Yes.
14 days of GPS or PMS or whatever.
I love it. Yes, I like it. I love it.
It's so totally a GPS. That's what I was just on an interview before, and we were talking about menopausal symptoms as well. And what I'm loving about entering into my menopausal years is the spectrum of emotions that I'm now experiencing that I never experienced before, because I was pretty flatlined because of my own family. Well, one reason potentially is my own upbringing, being we had to look like we had it all sorted and picture perfect.
Right.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to experience emotions. They were just kind of squashed down. So I'm loving the array of emotions that I'm now feeling. And when I feel those things, I don't judge them or say, oh, that's flipping awful if I drop my glass in rage. But I go, hey, what's going on here that I need to address? What's actually important to me that this is telling me very, very clearly, what needs to be different, or what I can do to be different in that.
Yeah.
Or just to go, hey, this is rage. This is interesting.
Yeah. And just be with it.
Exactly. So through your life trek, let's call it, how have you learned to relate to your body in a more self-loving way?
Oh, that is such a cool story. Mm-hmm. That is such a cool story. So in my 20s, I was just having disaster after disaster with relationships. Mm-hmm. And this was at a time when
You say that with a smile on your face now.
I do. No, it still happens, It's, now and then, it's just less intense. And I remember, I just remember so distinctly, I remember thinking to myself, the question that I asked myself was like there were these men in my life and they were saying, oh, you're too emotional and you don't do this and you don't do that. And I remember thinking, what am I meant to do? What is it?
It goes back to your old story, yeah? Who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to say?
What am I meant to, who am I? I just had no idea. And this was just when the internet was really coming up and we would get ebooks were like a thing. Mm-hmm. And I put into Google, how to be a woman. What I put into Google, because I thought about my mum, and at the time I just didn't have the wisdom to be able to honour and acknowledge her for some of the incredible stuff that he's been and done as a woman. And so I had put this into Google, and this ebook came up.
How to be a woman.
Oh my God, seriously. So anyway, I brought this ebook on how to be a woman, and this was how I learned to honour my body. Well, more than my body, actually. This was where it really started for me. So I read this book, and and it was great. There were like 10 chapters, and it told me what I needed to be and how I needed to do it, and when I should do it, and when I should text, and when I shouldn't text, or when I should call, what I should say, and what do I do on a third date, and what, literally, it was mapped out. So
how-tos 1 to 10.
I was. So I went about my excited new dating life, and I did this with a massive fail rate, and actually with further depression. So I thought, okay, the book's not right. So I downloaded a further 2 books. So by the time I got to the 3rd book, I was furious. I decided, it actually prompted me to start writing poetry about how I was feeling as a woman. And this was how I started to get onto loving my body. So what I started getting from that was, actually, I don't need to read a book. I don't need to hear what some man is saying to me, or even some woman who doesn't know me. I just need to listen to myself. And I just, by nature, I just started doing that, and I started really learning. It was like, I'm going to see what it feels like to like my arms and my legs and my hair, because I hated my hair. My arms and my legs and my hair and my eyes and my smile. And I just literally put it on like a t-shirt.
You put it on a mantle. Yeah. Like a t-shirt.
Yeah, I just thought, I'm going to try that. And the more I did that, for me, it just woke up this woman in me. It's just this fiery,
feisty, passionate, vibrant,
woman. And it was like, whoa. Yeah, it was that. That was
what was the key difference then? What was key difference from that? What I call the external media versus your internal journalist. Yeah, you read a lot of things. Yeah, in those books that didn't work for you, but your inner journalist, your inner self, was saying, "Hey, try this stuff on." Is that what made the difference?
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me is around society's view on sex. Now, this has really stuffed me up for years, because, and I can only speak for myself, and I'm completely comfortable speaking about this because of the pain I went through with it. But for me, I was a woman who wanted to have a whole lot of sexual experience with more than one man. I wanted that. I really wanted that. But I was too scared to act on that, in fear of being called a slut, or being made devalued, or made worth, for all the things that come out there for that. So what was happening was, I was giving a persona of being someone else, when actually I was doing that, but I was doing it in secret. I was doing it, and I was feeling very ashamed about it, because that's what I was doing. But when I'd come to another turning point, there'd been a few turning points in my life, another turning point that I'd come to, which was around my sexuality in my late 30s, that I just blew the lid open on it. I was like, you know what, I don't have the mental capacity to care about this anymore, as in to care about what other people think. This is who I am. This is how I am. And you don't have to like that. That's okay. But my God, I am really having the time of my life.
Awesome.
And my soul is not putting me down for it. My
soul is zinging. I can see it.
It is. And it's not. It's fine when it wasn't fine, and I look back and I think, God, no wonder why I had depression and things like that, because I'm so busy doing this, watching how I am, just to please another person's truth, when it's not mine. It's not mine. And yeah, I go through my learning experiences and things like that along the way. Of course I do. That who doesn't? But Janelle, it was like, that's what I want to do. Why do I have to? I don't want to pretend. I don't want to.
Oh, you were letting your light shine. You know, it's shining the match. It's striking the match, letting it shine who you are, and not letting others stuff it out. You know, that kind of.
Yeah.
Putting the lid on it. You know.
Yeah, it's that. So it's like, well, actually, I don't mind talking about sex. I don't mind if you ask me, am I sleeping with other men? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. It's neither here nor there really at the end of the day.
No.
But this seems you're asking, not you personally, this is generally, you know, if you're asking for my view, and well, this is my view and this is how I am. And I've had the looks, and I still get the looks, and I feel the energy change, but I've learned also to look at that for what that is, and that's just massive social conditioning as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy.
Right. What I see in you, Carolyn, and what I admire about you is that my impression of your earlier life, from the very, very little that I know, was this real trapped feeling. What I notice in you now is a freedom within your spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah? That you're flying within your own spirit and your own lightness in a different way than has been. And what I get from you, from this conversation and other conversations we've had, is that that's exactly what you're allowing other people to do as well, is to find what zings their soul, you know, what really zings their soul, whether people like it or not, whether people think it's crazy or not, you know, that they get to express fully who they are, not what other people think they need to be.
That is,
or label them to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just,
you look at people who have often been put into what used to be the psych hospitals. They're often incredibly creative. You know, people are creative. People are, you know, inspirational. Yet that, for many, many years now, has been squashed down. And you know, it's us free-spirited people who want to live life our way.
That's right.
That are paving the way for others to do the same. So I absolutely admire you, Carolyn,
Thank you.
for the light that you are. Yeah. And the lightness that you show people, that there's a different way to the experience that you've been through, and there's a different way to dealing with life and its grief, you know, and its losses that you're describing. There's a different way from the medication route.
There is.
That you've got some great other tools for people to, you know, tap into their environment, the diet, nutrition, and all those other things that you mentioned. I think they're fabulous. And I loved, you know, we hear that word holistic, but when I heard you say that before, you know, your story right from the start of just now was around feeling shredded, and you're talking about holistic. You know, it's not just piecing the pieces together, is it? It's creating a new whole.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the one that, you know, that resonates with your core. And
your own unique core.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting from you, yeah?
Yeah, and it's so drummed into us that we're meant to be a certain way or be and it's bollocks. It is not. That is so. Said so politely.
So look, just want to acknowledge you for the gorgeous woman that you are. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Thank you so much for being courageous and just stepping up into sharing your stuff and sharing some incredible wisdom for us. Yeah. I honor you for that and applaud you. Is there a way that people can get hold of you, or how do you work?
Actually, that's a good question. I have a email account and I have a Facebook account. It's the Speak, SPEAK, suicide prevention.
Mm-hmm.
That's mental wellness all round. So that's anything. But that's the Speak page is the best place to get me, or Carolyn Tam, TAMM 1 @gmail.com.
You're the one, girl.
Oh, thanks, Janelle.
If you want to get hold of me, I help women through change, transition, womanly stuff, really. So if you want to get hold of me as well, www.janellefletcher.com, or easier, somebodybeautiful.com. And I also have a Facebook community called Somebody Beautiful. So thank you again, Carolyn. You are beautiful.
Thank you. You too.
Lightness. Thank you so much.
It's been an honour. Thank you.
Bye.